in 2021, Raheem Mostert gets hurt on the second carry of the year, and it takes him until week 10 to sort of figure out the running game. And it was with Debo. Last year, Mitchell goes down right away, and it sort of takes them until they trade for Christian McCaffrey to figure out the run game, and then they get rolling. This year, they have a ton of running backs. Yeah. Assuming Christian McCaffrey and Elijah Mitchell don't fall apart week 1, this isn't a team that should start 3-5. This is a team that should start freaking 5-0. Last year, they should have started 5-0. So, they started 8-0 in 2019. They have the capability to do that.
Yes. They absolutely do. And they've talked about how they need to get off to a faster start. So it's not even like, they've acknowledged this. There was one line, I think it was Troy Aikman. It was in the first Rams game. It was right before Debo had that amazing 50-yard catch and run for a touchdown. Troy Aikman said that Kyle Shanahan told them he doubts he has the running backs in the room to play the kind of running game that they wanted to play. And then sure enough, what happens? They trade for Christian McCaffrey a few weeks later. So, but I think your point is a good one. And hopefully, like you said, with the stable of people they have now, they can avoid that.
Let's just count it real quick. So you got Christian McCaffrey, Elijah Mitchell, Jordan Mason, Debo Samuel. You still have Ty Davis Price. I guess we're not writing him off yet. Let's see what he has in year 2. But they also brought in this Kalen LeBourne guy. If you don't know who he is, he's an undrafted free agent who was like the #1 running back recruit coming out of high school. He had some injury issues. There was a pandemic. He's 25 years old. But last year, he freaking killed it at Marshall. He ran a 4.4. He looks a lot like he's like Elijah Mitchell with an NFL body. Elijah Mitchell's really good, but he doesn't have really that much muscle mass, and he gets hurt a lot. This guy has a real NFL body. Just wait. He seems like the guy, like the undrafted free agent, not du jour, but of the year for the Niners. So that's like 6 deep. 6 deep.
They're going to need it. I'm obsessed with this Jack Coletto from Oregon State, the guy that plays like 85 positions. What the hell is this guy going to do?
I love Kyle Shanahan. Like, he always wants people who aren't running backs who can play running back, and who aren't quarterbacks who can throw. Because those little things make him look so smart, right? And I think that's kind of why he doesn't really splurge. Well, he doesn't really think much about the right side of the offensive line. Like the right guard and the right tackle, there's not much he can do with him. You can't throw. You can't run the ball. You can't make me look smart. So just don't make me look dumb and play well enough. And if you get thrown in the air like Mike McGlinchey, you're just making yourself look bad. Sorry. Like, I look smart that I can win with you. Actually, that's what it is. Yeah.
You can't tell me there's not a little part of Kyle Shanahan that's like, hey, Jack Coletto played a lot of quarterback. Let's keep him on the practice squad, and God help us if we ever need him in a playoff game. Let's just put him on the active roster just in case the crap hits the fan again, and it won't be Christian McCaffrey trying to put the quarterback helmet on and read the plays off the wristband.
Dude, if Kyle Shanahan ever gets in a game where he goes through all of his quarterbacks, he'd be like the only head coach ever that did that more than once. You'd have to say, dude, it's your fault at this point. So I don't think he should be preparing for that.
Chris, watching on YouTube, says, you can tell who the idiots are when they say Brock got lucky for 8 games. There's no such thing. A couple of games, maybe like Cooper Rush, but 8 games in a row shows you have skill and potential.
Okay.
Hey. No, it doesn't.
Didn't they say that about Jimmy at one point, though? I mean,
right.
He won 7 in a row. He won his first 2 with the Patriots. He won 5 with the Niners. What's 7 in a row? What's the difference? In the 8th? Yeah, I mean, so I don't know. I think we should probably slow our roll. Like, trust our eyes. He's on the best team in the league. He's physically limited. He doesn't throw the ball downfield that much. He got hurt twice. Like, I think there's more to see.
Exactly. And you're not like crapping on Brock Purdy if you just say, hey, I want to see more before I decide. Like, that's not slanderous. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, like, let's not get rid of Trey Lance. Let's not just shut down the whole quarterback competition. Let's not give Brock Purdy an extension. I know he's not due for one yet, but like, let's not pretend he's proven something he hasn't. You got to keep. I mean, Jimmy had to go because he'd proven he's not the guy. But Trey, Brock, and Sam, I mean, there's enough mystery for them to all be here and for them to all, compete against each other.
Sean, watching on YouTube, says, Grant, Kyle could have 10 running backs and still only use 1.
So
it's
true.
a good point. He really does.
But I think a big thing for Kyle this year is don't wear down Christian McCaffrey in the regular season, because you do that to all of your running backs. Like your dad did to Terrell Davis. Like, please stop doing this to running backs.
Yeah, I don't know why he doesn't use more than 1 in a game, really, unless he has to because that guy gets injured. He just does not rotate them, and it's really, really weird.
It's strange because he's such a genius. You know what I mean? You think. Like, people use rotations. It's not that wild. And he has the running backs to do it. Like if he actually used a rotation, could you imagine? Right. I mean, because really McCaffrey isn't built for more than 12 to 15. He doesn't need to carry the ball more than 15 times. Look at him. You're also going to throw the ball to him 5 to 8 times.
That's the
so thing. Just cap him at 15. Give 10 to Mitchell. 5 to. I mean, that's so obvious. Let's see if he does it.
Josh watching on YouTube says the Raiders added Mayer at 34, the best tight end in the draft, to go with Adams and Jacobs. If Jimmy Garoppolo makes the Pro Bowl, does the Kyle genius narrative fall apart? No, I think the worst, I don't think it's bad because he still has Josh McDaniels there. So you could say, hey, he went from Kyle Shanahan to Josh McDaniels.
That's true.
What will make Kyle look bad is if Jimmy stays healthy for enough games to make the Pro Bowl. Because then you're like, wait a minute, what the hell's going on?
Yeah. Oh, you have injury issues. Like if it happens again this year and Brock gets hurt or Sam Darnold gets hurt or Trey gets hurt again and then Jimmy magically doesn't, then you have to say like, dude, yeah, it's the scheme or it's something. I don't know what it is, but I don't buy your excuses anymore. So it's a very interesting year. And the fact that Kyle Shanahan doubled down and didn't draft an offensive lineman makes it like even spicier. Like, let's see what happens.
That was really to not pick one and then to be asked about it after the draft. And he was basically like, we didn't like any of them whenever we were on the clock, which is fine. But like, okay.
Trade. You traded up. You traded up for a safety, right? So
That's
you can you work the board. You don't let the board work you. I have a proposal for a social experiment next year. Let's pick a position, a round, a player, and just use reverse psychology on Kyle Shanahan. Whatever we don't want him to do, tell him to do it, and we'll all do it together. It'll be like an inside joke, and I bet it works. I bet it freaking works. Reverse psychology.
If we could ever organize like that, that would be fascinating.
How old is your son?
My son is 8.
Does reverse psychology work on your son? Or is he too sophisticated?
No, sometimes it does. Sometimes.
There you go.
We'll see. Mansa watching on YouTube. Was Sam Darnold in Cabo? I don't think they've taken the Cabo trip yet, but I will be, if he goes to Cabo, like, oh man, you better believe I'll be talking about that.
He seems like the kind of guy who's just in Cabo by himself. Like he just has a second house in Cabo. How could he not be in Cabo? Cabo's his middle name. Look at him. He's from San Clemente. He has a Cabo vibe, a Cabo state of mind.
So there are league meetings coming up later this month. Actually, the 22nd. It's the same day that OTAs start. You're not obviously going to be at the league meetings. Jed will be there. I would love for the next time you get the chance to talk to Jed, just ask him like, Jed, do you really think paying for certain players to go to Cabo is a good look? Because I hate that. I think it's so
Jed,
bad.
Could you explain the Cabo thing? It just, because I don't understand it. It seems like a really strange, clicky look. Like, what is that? Why would you
just
only
pay for
invite
everybody?
The best? Pay for the best, dude. I mean, you're rich, right? It'll make you look great. This doesn't make you look good.
I don't think it. I think it's a bad look, and I would understand if other players in that locker room did not like it and were like, "Why didn't I get invited? Are you giving extra weight to things that those guys say? Like, it's just not good. It is not good."
To be fair, Eddie did the same thing in the early 80s. He would take Joe, from what I heard, I mean, I wasn't alive. My dad take Joe, Dwight, Ronnie to Vegas and sort of bankroll them at the tables. But Bill Walsh wasn't there. Like, I think for Kyle to be there, like he's one of the guys, it's strange. Again, I'm going to use the parent-kid metaphor. Mm-hmm. Like, Kyle's supposed to be the parent, but he's like the parent whose kids call him by his first name. And to me,
cool
like,
dad.
I don't like that. To me, it's like, okay, you don't demand respect from your kids. Like, you're going to let them talk to you like that. It's uncomfortable, but they're not his kids and not obviously, but he's the cool dad. Right. And I feel like those guys kind of take advantage. Like, hey, if I go to Cabo, I might get that contract. Like, I'm going to Cabo. I'm laughing at those jokes, man. I'm playing catch with Kyle.
It's just a weird. I've never heard of that with any other coach and their players. Like, I cannot think of, and I don't know, maybe McVay's doing it. I know McVay also goes down there. I don't know. Maybe there are other coaches doing that. I want to put that out there, but it is a weird,
all I know
weird look.
is that Darnold is friends with McCaffrey. Now Darnold's on the team. Cam Latu went to tight end U or whatever with George Kittle. Now Cam Latu's on the team, man. It seems like if you got like an inroad with the Cabo clique, like you just might get a contract with the 49ers. It's such a family. I love how they take care of each other. It's great.
187 says Trey is not invited to Cabo. He hasn't been so far. That's one thing we know for sure. You know, if he got invited and he went, though, there'd be people like, why isn't he working on his throwing motion?
True. Maybe Trey's more of a Cancun guy. Maybe he prefers Miami.
That's true.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe it's too dry in Cabo. It's very dry in Baja California.